There is a lot of useless advice out there that just doesn't work. However, this does. Get ahead of your opposition. It really does work, so give it a try by checking out the link in the description below.
The question, how do you prepare a resume and cover letter? Answer by Kelly Wilkins. A cover letter can be described as a statement of purpose. One objective of the cover letter is to highlight your strengths that are described in your resume. For tips on writing a resume, visit How to Write a Good Resume. What does the job require? In addition to your specialized qualifications and skills, your work experience in different environments, coordination with different teams, and your experience in handling critical are qualities you ought to mention. All these capabilities can be mentioned in your cover letter. Your resume will list your educational background and your experience. Why you are successful in your given field is presented through your cover letter. For example, you have mentioned about handling the sales teams across the Asian subcontinent in your cover letter. Then the recruiter will automatically search for that experience in your resume and spend more time reading it keenly. Thus you can describe your important role more briefly in your cover letter. Recognize your prospective employer. This is one aspect which is important that most people are unaware of it. Individuals tend to focus too much on themselves. A recruiter is going to hire not because you possess specific qualities, they also look for character. One manner to exhibit that is to focus on the requirements of the employer. A good rule of thumb is to acknowledge them in your resume. Using you means to recognize the requirements of the employer and then moving gradually to I. Mention their requirements, and describe your strengths and experience relevant to the position they are looking for. Let them know that you see yourself as a part of their team. You must describe that the combination of their company and your skills can bring great success to the company. You can stress on how your skills can bring hang or improvement in their process and products. You must describe in brief your skills and experience combined with the company's resources can bring out a turnaround or benefit them. Remember to do a thorough research about the company, their operations, their main line of business and the role you will be playing in their company. Who is the cover letter addressed to? Whenever you write a cover letter, it should be addressed to a specific individual. In case you don't know the person, make time to find out to address it to the correct person. Ensure that the name of the concerned person is spelled correctly and his designation is mentioned appropriately. Does it match your resume? This information may be in your resume. The cover letter highlights important achievements or skills you possess. The other benefit of the cover letter is it provides personal insight about your competency and personality. Can I use the same cover letter again for another company? This may take you less time and effort, but it is certainly not the right thing to do. As mentioned above, the fact that you possess some skills is not the only thing, but they should also match with the requirements of the company. So, it is recommended to highlight those skills which are relevant to the company you applying with and modify your cover letter accordingly. It should not take a lot of time tailoring your cover letter correctly. A well-written cover letter shows your discipline and genuine interest in being associated with the company. With how to conclude, a cover letter is a call to action, whether from your side or theirs. For example, you can write that you would be looking forward to their positive response, or you may also ask them for a reply over the phone. However, you may write anything that you may like, but don't forget this part of the letter. Review. You have to go through the entire letter once again. There should be no room for error in your resume. It should be the same with your cover letter. You may ask someone else to take a read through the entire letter, and a spell check is a must as recommended. Email cover letters, though you have to include all the above points, but in such a way that it remains short. All the highlights and key points of your skills must be completed in 2 to 3 sentences. But you must always make sure that you are writing the cover letter in the context of the job opening. Don't be too creative with the font size and font style. Just keep the font size simply to 10 and the font style as Arial. You may break the content in 2 or 3 paragraphs depending upon the content. In an email cover letter, the subject line becomes very important. So, try to write a good subject line which highlights your profile and makes it very clear about the position that you are applying for. If you can keep the subject line short and simple, that will be an added advantage. Maintaining a certain image, although it is important to highlight your abilities and showcase your skills, but at the same time it is also very important that the letter depicts your personality. Don't try to sound more aggressive of a person if you are more of a simple and soft-natured. Also make sure that you are not sounding like a salesman who is desperate to sell his wares. Be enthusiastic but don't overdo it. Just remember, if your cover letter is not up to the mark, then there are more chances that the recruiter may not open the much important attachment, i.e., your resume. This means you may not even get a chance to demonstrate your skills to the recruiter even though you are fit for the opening. If you don't include a cover letter in the first place itself, then the chances of not opening the attachment increases further. The cover letter has one added benefit. If by the time your resume reached the recruiter, they had already shortlisted someone else, then while sending the reply, "Thank you for the interest but the vacancy is filled," your application will get saved in our minds and your resume in their database, and they will surely consider your resume in the future openings of the company. This gives you an extra chance that you will need while searching for a new job in the future. Answer by Gala Myers. Resume and cover letter writing is tough with different expectations across industries, companies and position levels. There isn't exactly a one-size-fits-all job application writing strategy. However, all solid job applications have a few things in common. They fit with the employer's applicant process, explicitly show you meet the position's requirements, and are consistent throughout. With these principles in mind, here are some job application help tips and tricks to assist you in writing a strong resume and cover letter that will increase your chances of scoring an interview. Research and prep materials in advance. By having all of your materials prepped and ready to go, base resume and cover letter outline, you can then move into the next stage of the job application writing process, researching the position and tailoring your materials. Doing background research on the position can help you incorporate evidence of your qualifications relevant to the position into your application and demonstrate that your experience aligns closely with what the company is looking for. Fit your materials to the employer's process. Scanning in advance the job application requirements will help with job application writing. Before starting your application, make a point to review the process outlined in the position description and prepare your relevant materials based on what the HR staff is looking for. By doing so, you can prep and tailor your materials based on their process, which will ensure your information fits with what they are evaluating and be less stressful and time-consuming for all involved. Express your relevant qualifications and unique value. Perhaps the most important strategy from a job application writing service perspective is to express your relevant qualifications in alignment with the position. When writing job applications, focus on answering two questions the employer inevitably will be asking when reading your application. 1. Do the candidate's qualifications meet the job's requirements? And 2. How does this candidate stand out among other applicants? When writing your job application, it's critical to show evidence of meeting the qualifications, or your application may be discarded, even if you have the necessary experience. Referencing back to the point about making the hiring manager's job easier, explicitly stating your qualifications throughout your total application helps to show clearly that you meet the position's requirements. Keep in mind that there may be many qualified applicants, however, so simply showing you meet the requirements may not be enough to secure an interview. To enhance your job application, incorporating strong examples of achievements you have made and expressing how you have been successful in previous roles will show the value you could bring to the position. Doing so will make your application more interesting and increase your chances of progressing to the next stage in the hiring process. Ensure consistency across your details and branding. When job application writing, evaluate your total application for consistency throughout. Few inconsistencies throw up a red flag more quickly than a mismatch between work history dates or titles. Thoroughly proofreading and evaluating how your content aligns across your total professional profile, from documents required by the application process to information a committee may find informally through a Google search, can help ensure consistency in your job application. Along with thoroughly proofreading your content and details, ensure that your professional branding is consistent across your total profile. Think about the unique experiences you can bring to a position and try to emphasize your professional value throughout all of your documents. Doing so will strengthen your professional image, make your application memorable, and help an employer determine if you would be a good fit for the organization. We hope that this gets you started. If you would like more resources or career advising, contact us. Happy Writing. Answer by Duncan Korber. For a cover letter, you need to analyze the job ad well, picking out key phrases and other information to get a sense of what the company wants. Then you have to write paragraphs responding to those phrases and that information. You have to provide specific objective examples of success, awards, grants, sales numbers, etc., and tell one or two stories of success. At the end, make sure it's well edited. I teach an online course on writing great cover letters. If you need help, I explain everything Eva described above. At the end of the course, I can review your letter. If you like, Cover Letter Mastery to get the job you want. Udemy.